perfect rubbery face movements. Obviously a passionate fan.
Yes, he is, yeah, he's really into it.
Well, he owns a McLaren car.
Does he
Yeah,
really?
famously, he's one of the few people in the world that owns one of those McLaren super road cars. And
I can't imagine him
he crashed
speeding around
it not long
somehow.
ago. Yeah,
Can't
he
imagine.
knows, he's a real car lover, and yeah, supercars.
He doesn't
in particular.
speed. He doesn't break the speed
No,
limit.
of course not.
Oh, I doubt that.
No. OK, talk to you later, Dan.
Well, Steve joins us now with all the latest showbiz news. Bad night for Kelly last night on the old X Factor.
Well, yeah, I mean, bad weekend really since she left, as Dan said there. She wasn't there, didn't turn up, was ill apparently and stuck over in the States, so we had her on the phone. I'll talk about that in a second. Just take you through some of the front pages today, because obviously the X Factor, as always, dominates on a Monday morning. This is the front page of the Mirror. Now they've gone Shame That Tune. They've got Kitty. And this is Kitty's song, with the apparent notion, a lot of people on Twitter saying, was she auto-tuned? She wasn't auto-tuned. She had an effect put on her voice, which made some people to say, well, hang on, is that fair? Is that really nice that she has all this sort of echoey, reverby stuff that she had going on for the first 20 seconds of the song? The X Factor bosses say, yes, they did have the first 20 seconds. That was purely for dramatic effect, and then she sang on as normal. It wasn't auto-tuned, but I know some of you got a bit upset with the fact that they had anything on it at all. And this is in the Sun today in the middle. They've gone to Save It, Sigh, and they've got Bosses Want Cal back, that old chestnut coming back in, and the Sun poll about who your favourites are, and the whole Sun versus X Factor, the Strictly versus X Factor palaver that battles on every single week. So an interesting weekend. We'll play a bit of catch-up. This is about who went last night.
OK, Misha, Sophie, you received the fewest public votes. You're going to sing again in the final showdown.
I still want to drown someone like me. Oh.
The person that I have to send home is Sophie.
The act that I'm sending home tonight is Sophie.
The act that I'm sending home is Sophie.
Thank you, Kelly.
Unanimous there, wasn't it?
It still is the best thing about last night. It's like when you call up work when you've been ill and you have to put on that voice.
I am poorly,
She's probably sat on the beach with a cocktail. Yeah. But she did vote Sophie off. It was unanimous, and that was the quite dramatic and emotional thing. I know Sophie's on later, so we can speak to her about how she felt about almost everyone saying it was Misha. But then again, Misha's such a powerful performer that it was kind of inevitable that a lot of support and a lot of love for Misha. So let us know all through the mornings what you think. We'll read out some of your comments later. We'll turn to Strictly as well. And it was finally over for Nancy and Anton after years, it seems like years, after weeks of scraping through. It was finally over on the Halloween special. Thought Anton looked quite nice. Look at Nancy's costume, it's horrendous. Oh, she's not really wearing one. So she went off last night. Audley stays on to fight another day. Bit of drama really, but we expected it to happen, I think it's fair to say.
She was hanging on by a thread for a couple of weeks.
She was hanging on for a thread, absolutely. So goodbye, we enjoyed your time on the show. Good to see Russell's still doing well. And finally, success for Coldplay. Well done to the boys. They're #1 in the album charts, as we expected with their album, Milo Xyloto. Why call it such a strange name? Soared to the top of the album charts, beat Noel Gallagher to the #1. So well done, Chris and the boys.
What's this about, a Martin Scorsese film?
Oh, Martin Scorsese film. We're going to try and bring you this later on. There's a Martin Scorsese kids film. Oh. Stay tuned. It's not Taxi Driver. It's for kids. He does it every so often. So we've got that coming up just before 7.
Okay, excellent. We get all your Halloween weather now from Kirsty in a moment. It is scary, that, to be fair, isn't it? Probably too scary. Bit of trick or treat at Oxford Castle this morning, Kirsty.
Hello, Adrian. A very spooky Halloween here, Oxford Castle Unlocked. I've got my fellow trick-or-treaters this morning. We've got Aaron, we've got Sonia, we've got Cecily, and we've got Sophie. And we're going to explore the castle because it's not only an 11th century castle, it used to be a former prison until really quite recently, 96, it stopped being a prison. So lots of spooky goings on this morning. We're going to investigate just in this room here. Sonia, would you like to do the honours of knocking on the door, seeing what we can find in this first prison cell? In we go, kids. In you go, Aaron. Oh, right, a very spooky character here, right? Rush in, we go. In here, you may notice extremely spooky character. Not real, don't panic at home, but this is one of the people said to haunt the place. Of course, this is Jack Ketch, an infamous executioner. Famous, in fact, you can tell me for inspiring.
The executioner in Punch and Judy.
Because he was
so bad at his job.
Yes, not very good. So I think a lot of unhappy people there. If we zoom back out quickly, we've got another room to check. We'll run down the corridor here, and in here we have a very spooky guy. Come and see this. We have the prison warder.
Morning.
Look at this. And it's going to be very scary indeed. Come on in. He may be a scary man, he may be representative of the horrible times that happened here. We've got some treats, haven't we? Come in, other guys.
Indeed we have.
Yeah, there we go. So
Well, you're scaring me, young man, so let me give you one of those.
There you go, and I'll have one of those.
Oh, I think you're allowed one of those as well.
For the witches as well.
And for the witches too.
All right, I think it's time now to take a look at just how...
Here we go, one more for you to add to your pile.
Halloween. Let's take a look.
And one more.
Daybreak weather, sponsored by Nestle Cereals, proudly waving the banner for whole grain.
A very spooky Halloween here in a 1,000-year-old Oxford castle. The weather, hopefully not too spooky today. Oh, you can hear echoey footsteps and everything. It's quite scary if you are coming down here later on. It does look as though the weather exceptionally mild for the end of October. It's been a very warm October, and today, no exception. Temperatures about 6 degrees above the average, so very mild. A little bit of a grey start this morning for some of us. Hopefully some brightness will come through later on across eastern parts of the country, but further west, a little bit damp and drizzly. By the afternoon, a few more brighter spells should have broken through some of the cloud. The best of that across the northeast of Scotland, eastern parts of England, but further west we start to see some rain creeping in. Rain moving in across Northern Ireland, for example, into western Scotland and just clipping western fringes of Wales and the southwest. Now the rain could be a little bit heavy, but only lasting a couple of hours. It should move through fairly steadily. Temperatures today, we're looking at about 6 degrees above the average, so we're looking at around, say, 15 in the north to 18 in the south. Now, as we head through the evening itself, of course, if you are out trick-or-treating or guising, as we call it up in Scotland, it is going to be a little bit wet for some. Much of Scotland, much of northwest England, Wales and the southwest of England looking rather wet, unfortunately, through the early part of the evening, but it should dry up across Northern Ireland, and ahead of the rain band should stay dry across much of central and eastern England. Tomorrow is going to be probably the best day of the week weather-wise. Most places looking dry and bright. Temperatures still above the average, although a touch cooler than today. Wednesday, though, a heads up for that. It looks as though it's going to turn rather wet and rather windy. Scary stuff. Here's the summary.
Find out what's in store for the next 5 days on our website, itv.com/daybreak.
Thanks, Kirsty.
Coming up in the next half an hour, war reporter Raghi Omar on the multi-billion-dollar slave trade that still exists across the world.
Also, we'll give you the results of our exclusive parenting survey on the day the world's population is due to hit 7 billion.
And after 7, we'll speak to the mum who says her size 32 double J breasts are too much for her to cope with.
Let's get the news from Tasman.
Thank you, Adrian. Good morning. The number of war memorials being attacked by looters has more than doubled in the last year. Campaigners say urgent action is needed as monuments are targeted for their metal plaques and sold off as scrap. Our senior news correspondent Jonathan Swain is live at Tidworth War Memorial in Wiltshire for us. Morning, Jonathan. Increasing anger over this, isn't there?